Morning, Saturday, October 7th. And here's a little rant about an unholy duo if there ever was one. Donald Trump has gone ahead and given his blessing to Jim Jordan to become the Speaker of the House. So here we have an indicted ex-president pushing in my mind, an unqualified representative for Speaker of the House. Now, it's true that Jim Jordan has a Doctor of Law degree from the Capital University Law School in Ohio. However, it's also worth noting that he never sat for the bar exam. He's never practiced 1 minute's worth of law in his entire legal career. His legal career has consisted of being the firebrand Republican politician. That's his legal career since 2007. Prior to that, he was involved in wrestling at the high school level, wrestling at the college level, and a wrestling coach at Ohio State University. And I'll tell you that during his tenure as the wrestling coach at Ohio University, he ignored the pleas of students who were being sexually assaulted by the team doctor, Richard Strauss. Tito Vasquez, one of those students, was one of 6 former Ohio State wrestlers who went on the air and told the stories about Richard Strauss and the story about what Jim Jordan and the other coaches knew and when they knew it. And this case has been under scrutiny since 2018, when Ohio State announced an investigation into the true allegations against Strauss. Now, Strauss committed suicide in 2005, so this is hanging over Jordan's head. And it's a terrible situation because it is known, the fact is known, that Strauss sexually abused at least 177 male student patients during 1979 and 1998. And as I said before, the doctor committed suicide in 2005. So Jim Jordan ignored all of that was going on in Ohio State, never practiced law, and somehow or other got himself elected to Congress, and now he's running for the Speaker of the House. Now, with all of that hanging over his head, you would think that he would want to stay out of the limelight. And you would think that the Republicans wouldn't want all of this dirty laundry out there in front of the general public. But Jordan has emphatically denied that he knew anything about what Strauss was doing. Now, if a doctor like Strauss was doing that for over 20 years at Ohio State, Jordan had to know that. And so did many of the other coaches at Ohio State. They all must have known it. So there's a black mark not only on Jordan, but on the University at Ohio State. So these stories about the abuse of students at Ohio State have been around for a long time, and nobody has disproved it. And the doctor committed suicide. So if Jim Jordan was in any way, shape, or form involved in that situation, he certainly doesn't deserve to be the Speaker of the House. And when we have more than one student stepping forward and saying Jordan knew, and they must have complained to him about it. And just as a member of the faculty and a member of the coaching staff at Ohio State, he should have been taking care of those students. They should have been listening to him. And this guy, this Dr. Strauss was there for 20 years doing these things. So all of that is not Jim Jordan's fault. But Jim Jordan never stood up and took a stance for the students. And at least, even if he didn't believe them, he should have been looking into the matter. But it seems like everybody at Ohio State at that particular point was failing. So that is a huge black mark on Jim Jordan in my mind. And his personality, his in-your-face personality, is not what I would consider the proper man to be the Speaker of the House. I believe the Speaker of the House has to be strong, but in a quiet way. A measured person. Somebody who can recognize the facts and move in the right direction depending upon the situation. I don't think Jim Jordan has that mental capacity. I think he's against most everything. He's extremely conservative, and that shouldn't be against him. But he's really on the edge of right-wing fanaticism. So do we want a Speaker of the House who's right-wing fanatic? No. We want a Speaker of the House who is a moderator. Somebody who has a strong stance on the correct issues, but is able to listen to the opposition and act accordingly. The Speaker of the House is not a dictator, and he's not elected by the people. He's elected by the members of Congress. And the members of Congress don't pick the best person in the Congress. They pick the person who has camaraderie within his universe, the Republican universe or the Democratic universe. They pick a person who they trust in some way, shape, or form. Somebody who is going to do what they all want him to do. And in my mind, we need independent thinkers. And yes, you can have leanings. You can have Republican leanings. And you can be a Republican. And I remember Republicans like Jacob Javits, people who were Republican, but they weren't right-wing. They were moderates. And that's what we need in this country. We need moderation, and we need to get together. And why do I always end up in this particular situation ranting about the shape of the country? This rant is about Jim Jordan and his qualifications not to be Speaker of the House. He doesn't have the temperament from what I have seen over the years. And he certainly doesn't have the history that goes with that. And I am not sure that he ever intended to go to law school to be a lawyer. He was a wrestling coach, and that's what he wanted to be. But he saw a way to make a good living as a congressman, and he had a law degree, but he never passed the bar exam. So I think he's unqualified to be Speaker, and I really think he's unqualified to be a representative in the House also. So I'll leave you at that this morning. A disgrace, another black mark against us. Have a great day. Bye.